Squid Game Season 2 is alright as a season in itself, but I can't help the feeling it's being praised more than it truly deserves. It's a significant downgrade from Season 1, though to be fair that was somewhat expected. If you haven't watched Season 2 yet, I recommend waiting until Season 3 releases so you can binge both together. You'll get a more complete and satisfying experience that way. Spoilers ahead. Season 2 isn't bad when viewed as a part 1, but it falls considerably short as a standalone season, especially when compared to the groundbreaking excellence of Season 1. If it had been labeled as Season 2 Part 1, it would have shifted my expectations and likely changed my overall rating. Not knowing that it would end on such a massive cliffhanger, I expected certain storylines to reach a conclusion. Instead, almost everything was left unresolved, which was both disappointing and frustrating. To my knowledge, none of the cast or creators mentioned that Season 2 would be a cliffhanger-heavy Part 1. If they had, this video might not even exist. Many of the criticisms I'm about to share stem from the fact that this season either had fewer episodes or was intentionally structured as a setup for the next installment. While these factors are understandable, they still diminish the season's overall quality in my opinion. One of the issues lies in how certain characters were handled. Kang No-eul, for instance, was introduced in the first 2 episodes with some intriguing moments as she interfered with the illegal organ trafficking subplot. However, her character wasn't explored deeply enough. We learned really little about her backstory, her personality, or her motivations. How did she become a guard? What drives her to take these risks? These questions were left unanswered and she disappeared from focus after the initial setup. Jung-ho and his team of mercenaries were another missed opportunity. Their scenes felt like wasted potential, with much of their screen time dedicated to wild goose chases that ultimately led nowhere. That valuable time could have been used to delve deeper into the players' stories or explore other significant characters like In-ho. Despite his increased presence this season, In-ho's motivations and backstory remained underdeveloped, leaving his role frustratingly ambiguous. I understand that many of these loose ends will likely be tied up in Season 3, however, as a standalone season, Season 2 leaves too much unfinished, which inevitably lowers its overall score. It feels like more of a transitional piece rather than a fully fleshed out chapter. The shift in tone is another factor that contributes to the season's decline. Season 2 leaned more into action sequences, moving away from the grounding, brutal, and emotional moments that made Season 1 so impactful. The first season masterfully highlighted the harsh realities of life, exposing the desperation that drives people to risk everything for money. It balanced emotional character arcs with gut-wrenching betrayals and moments of friendship, culminating in a deeply tragic yet resonant narrative. Season 2, on the other hand, feels like a typical cop drama with a clear division between good guys and bad guys. This black and white morality was absent in Season 1, where characters were forced to make morally grey decisions that transformed them into people they never wanted to become. Another glaring issue is the sheer number of new characters introduced this season. Season 1 focused primarily on 6 central players, with a few memorable side characters like Deok-soo and Min-yo. In contrast, Season 2 doubled that number while offering fewer episodes. Many new characters were barely developed and their deaths felt rushed and emotionless. In Season 1, every death was agonizing, leaving a lasting impression on both the characters and me. We saw contestants broken in spirit, clinging to hope or accepting their fate with devastating finality. Season 2 lacked that emotional weight, with deaths that felt more abrupt and less impactful. The new players also didn't resonate with me as much as the original cast. Characters like Sae-byeok, Sang-woo, and Ali were compelling, while many of Season 2's players felt irritating or forgettable. Min-soo, Dae-ho were so useless in the final episode and could have simply put in a little effort to save those who died. The chanting woman was particularly frustrating, and Thanos was funny at first but quickly became tiresome. Another gripe I had was with the repeated votes to continue the game. It felt unrealistic that so many players, especially those with little to no backstory, kept choosing to risk their lives. Characters like the old man who consistently voted yes annoyed me, as his motivations were never explored. He was so ignorant. A deeper dive into his reasoning would have added much needed depth to these moments. Despite all these criticisms, Season 2 did have its strong points. The vote after each game, for example, provided an interesting moral dilemma and showcased some character development. However, these moments were overshadowed by the overwhelming sense that this season was merely setting the stage for what's to come. In conclusion, Season 2 felt completely different from Season 1, lacking the originality and emotional depth that made the first season so special. While it serves as a decent setup for Season 3, it falls short as a standalone season. If I could go back, I would have waited for Season 3 and binged them together for a more complete experience.